Let's go now to Ethiopia, where Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is wrapping up his four-nation African tour. CCTV's Girum Chala has this update now from the capital, Addis Ababa.
Israel's leader flew in late Wednesday and already he has had talks with his Ethiopian counterpart, Hailemariam Desalegn. They have also agreed to step up their cooperation against terrorism. They have discussed cooperation in areas such as industry, tourism, farming and technology. It's the first visit by an Israeli leader to Ethiopia, part of a determined drive by Benjamin Netanyahu to improve relations with the continent. This week, he has also met leaders from 6 other African countries and visited Uganda, Kenya and Rwanda. Netanyahu is due to meet business delegates here in Addis Ababa later Thursday before heading back home. Girum Chala, CCTV at the National Palace in Addis Ababa.
And let's get more now on the Prime Minister's visit to Africa, and CCTV Stephanie Fried is standing by for us in Tel Aviv. Stephanie, the Israeli Prime Minister is winding up his tour in Africa. He started off in Uganda, Kenya, Rwanda and now Ethiopia. What are some of the key achievements so far from this trip?
Well, certainly one of the big aims was business. Hence, the Prime Minister is traveling with dozens of business people to strengthen Africa-Israel ties, to strengthen business ties specifically, anywhere from security ties to irrigation and agriculture ties. Israel certainly is looking to increase its exports to Africa. Right now, or in 2015, Israel exported a reported $1 billion worth of goods to Africa, according to a spokesperson for the Israel-Africa Chamber of Commerce. With new agreements and trade agreements in place, that number could double in the coming year. So that was certainly one of the focuses. Another focus, obviously, was cooperation. The Prime Minister and his counterparts in Africa talked repeatedly about security, about growing extremism, fundamentalism, and security cooperation between countries. So those were also aims, looking to cooperate, intelligence sharing, and so on. Reportedly, after the Prime Minister's visit in Kenya, there is reportedly an agreement between the two countries for a new trade agreement. So we have a sense that that was one deal that perhaps has come out of that, and it's expected that numerous other deals will come out of this visit, aside from simply strengthening ties.
Well, Stephanie, while in Rwanda, though, Prime Minister Netanyahu drew parallels from the experience of Israelis and the Rwandan genocide. What more can you tell us about this, and why is this actually significant?
Well, I'll start with your last question first. The significance is this: it's to draw a bond, to draw parallels, and also to show the similarities between the Jewish people and the Rwandan genocide. And the reason it was significant and what he was talking about is, let's start with Rwanda, the 1994 genocide, in which the Hutu majority government was responsible for killing an estimated 1 million Tutsis. Israel's past, the Jewish people's past, is 6 million people, the genocide during World War II of Nazi Germany. 6 million Jews killed in World War II. So the idea was to build bridges, to show that there is a common sense of suffering between the two countries, and therein to perhaps build understanding as well.
Stephanie Fried for us there in Tel Aviv. And as Stephanie has mentioned, the Rwandan genocide has featured prominently during the visit by the Israeli Prime Minister to that East African nation. Benjamin Netanyahu has met with Rwandan President Paul Kagame and paid his respects to the victims of the 1994 genocide.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has touched down in Kigali, where he's been welcomed by Rwandan President Paul Kagame. Netanyahu's first stop was the Genocide Memorial Center. The remains of more than 200,000 victims are buried here in mass graves.
My people know the pain of genocide as well. And this is a unique bond that neither one of our peoples would prefer to have. Yet we both persevered despite the pain and despite the horror. We survived. We never lost hope, and you never lost hope. Today, Israel and Rwanda are successful states and models for progress. We have learned, both our peoples, I think, a valuable lesson from our tragic past.
President Kagame, who's led Rwanda since 2000, was instrumental in stopping the massacres. His troops marched into Kigali in 1994, driving former government forces out of the country. More than 800,000 people were killed within a span of 100 days when Hutus went on a killing spree. A large delegation of Israeli business executives are accompanying Netanyahu on his trip to Africa. Catherine Omwando, CCTV.